Welcome to the 12th report with Blessings Musugu, and these are the headlines. Rivers State House of Assembly vows to continue Governor Fubara's impeachment process. Federal government warns state against bandit peace deals, calls them counterproductive. Also, Museveni takes early lead as opposition alleges fraud in Uganda's presidential election. And as usual, we have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country and beyond. We have Biola Festus standing by in Port Harcourt, Joshua Imurai standing by in the FCT, Omolola Ololade is on standby here in Lagos, and Mono Balagugu is on standby in Kogi State. And let's not forget, Udoka Njoku is joining live from Morocco as well. We've got the details in a moment. Let's start now with a developing story in Rivers State, where the House of Assembly has vowed to press ahead with the impeachment process against Governor Simeon Fubara and his deputy, Ngozi Udu. Lawmakers speaking at a press conference in Port Harcourt on Friday accused the governor of blackmail and said he lacked the trust needed to address the state's ongoing crisis. They also allege that Fubara and his deputy had infringed on the 1999 Constitution and resorted to intimidating the parliament, leaving lawmakers no choice but to exercise their legislative powers. Now, at plenary, members unanimously voted to investigate allegations of gross misconduct against the governor and his deputy, while 4 lawmakers who had earlier called for a political solution recanted and declared support for the impeachment process. The House also thanked President Bola Tinubu for intervening in the crisis and calling on Speaker Martin Amewule to reconvene the Assembly.
By this voting, the Rivers State House of Assembly has resolved that investigations against allegations of gross misconduct leveled against His Excellency Sir Simeon Fubara, Governor of Rivers State, should proceed to the next level, which is investigation. And by virtue of Section 188, subsection 5, I will ensure that the resolution of this House is immediately communicated to the Chief Judge of Rivers State.
Now, Rivers State recently resumed democratic governance after 6 months of emergency rule. However, fresh political crises have continued brewing in the oil-rich state. From impeachment threats to accusations of the governor refusing to present the 2026 appropriation bill to the state assembly, Rivers' governance hangs in the balance. Now, as the political tussle intensifies between Governor Simeon Fubara and the state lawmakers and ex-governor Nyesom Wike, now the FCT minister, residents and experts are voicing concerns. News Central's Biola Festus takes a look at the current political situation in Rivers State. All right, we'll bring that to you in a moment. But in the meantime, as the February 21 Federal Capital Territory Area Council polls draw closer, residents of Kwali Area Council say their expectations go beyond campaign promises to issues that affect their daily lives. Prolonged power outages, poor road networks, and under-equipped health facilities are emerging as key concerns across several communities in that area council. Our correspondent Joshua Imurai recently visited Kwali and now joins us on the 12th report with more on what residents are demanding. Joshua, during your visit to this area, what stood out the most to you about the concerns raised by the residents in the area council concerning the elections approaching?
Upon my entrance into Kwali government area, it will interest you to know that all the 10 political wards of Kwali area are being plugged into darkness as a result of vandalism. So that is stopping the agenda for the residents who are there. They've been without electricity for almost 2 months now, since November last year, and this is stopping the agenda. They are saying that the top of priority should be that the next chairman that is coming should look at how the area council will get back electricity, because it is affecting their businesses. It is affecting their livelihood. So many businesses are forced due to the electricity issue they are having in that area. So that is one of them. But beyond that, access road seems to be a theme of issue around communities. I was at the big shelter and the small shelter in Kilankwa ward of the Kwale area council. And one of the challenges they face mostly is access roads into this community. And you understand that most of those who are residents in Kwale area council are mainly farmers. It is more like an agrarian community. And for these people to take their produce out of their farmlands to the town where they sell these things is becoming some sort of difficult for them. So this is the issue: lights, access roads, and sometimes too potable water. Because for one, to get water, the person has to trek 15 minutes from his or her house or compost zone before can get water. So these are the issues, and this is what they are saying.
All right, now from what you have observed, do residents believe the upcoming elections could actually bring real change to these long-standing challenges? Or is there a sense of frustration with the past administrations that has led to a level of trust issues for the future ones?
In as much there is so much anticipation for the next election that is coming up February the 21st, some people hold the view that the next administration that comes, we maybe do some sort of a continuity of this, some of the projects, some of the intervention. But what seems to be resonating more among non-indigenous is the fact that they are alleging that whenever issues with regarding project implementation of projects for the local government chairman come up, they tend to shy away from that and end up giving handouts like rice, motorcycles. But the main issue, which is the road, seems to be the problem. I even went ahead to speak with the traditional ruler of the Kwale area council, that is the person of Esu Kwale. And Esu Kwale, to an extent, says that development has been seen in some parts of Kwale, but more needs to be done, particularly around health. I visited one of the primary health care facilities along that Kilankwa axis, and I saw for myself that this particular healthcare facility has wards, female, male, and pediatric ward. Of course, the male ward has just 2 beds. The female ward has just 3 beds. It will interest you to know that all of these wards, none of them have a functional toilet for patients to access. Whenever a patient wants to go to the toilet, the person has to leave the ward, go outside. Just imagine a pregnant woman, or perhaps one who just delivered wants to use the toilet. The kind of journey the person has to take from the ward outside of the world. So these are the issues that they are saying and needs to be addressed.
All right, Joshua Marai there giving us an update on the upcoming FCT Council polls, and it's interesting to see how amidst all of these challenges we're expecting these elections, and we'll see if this would greatly impact the outcome of the elections. Thank you once again to Joshua for monitoring that story. But still on political matters, Abubakar, son of former Vice President and 2023 PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, has defected from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressives Congress, pledging to support President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. Now, this defection was announced on Thursday at the National Assembly in Abuja and is being seen as a symbolic boost for the APC, especially in the Northeast. Now, popularly known as Abba, he was formally received by the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin, alongside key APC leaders from the region. Addressing party leaders and supporters, Abubakar described his decision as historic and personal, officially resigning from the PDP to align with the APC. He also directed members of his political structure, the Haske Atiku organization, to join the APC and mobilize support for President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says his son's decision to join the All Progressives Congress is a personal choice and does not affect his own political convictions. Now, Atiku said in a democracy, such decisions are normal, even when they involve family members and politics. He also stressed that as a Democrat, he does not coerce his children or Nigerians in matters of conscience. The former vice president, however, expressed concern over what he described as a poor governance and the economic and social hardships under the APC. He reaffirmed his commitment to working with like-minded Nigerians to restore good governance and offer the country a credible alternative. Right now we have Victor Atewa, a political strategist and youth mobilizer, joining us to explore the potential implications of Abba's defection for the APC's electoral prospect, youth mobilization efforts, and of course, messaging strategies. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a very interesting turn of events, one that many wouldn't have anticipated. So let me start by asking, what is your take on that? I mean, the father has said that his son's decision is one that, reflects true democracy. What do you think about that?
Trust me, of course, it reflects true democracy because it can be coerced into believing that whatever I do, my son, in a family where you have, the father, the mother, the children, they're allowed to have their, the freedom of, association and whatever they relate with or whatever they choose to, whatever they choose to do with their lives. So for me, I think it's really, it's not going to make any political impact, so to say. Yes, of course, with the name Atiku, it's really a big boost for the APC, having his son join them, and of course, would help them to, drive their agenda, especially in the north east. So, but for me, one thing that I really want to say as regards APC and of course this defection thing is APC needs to understand that it is not about defection. If you like, the last election has proven that even with the political weight in their states, you see a party that has no structure, came and of course defeated them. Of course, in FCT2, you saw what happened. So it's about Nigeria against the APC, Nigerians against hunger, Nigerians against insecurity, Nigerians against a political hardship and all. So, having all this forth and back defection is not going to make any political importance, so to say, because it's just a way of having too much. It's having the big weight in a boat that is prone to sink anytime soon.
All right, Victor, let's talk about cause and effect now. As someone who understands the pulse of the youth, how do you think that Abba's defection to the APC might play out among the young Nigerians? What messaging strategy can the APC employ to capitalize on this kind of development?
I think that is part of their strategy to see how they can use him, of course, to mobilize the youth, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, to see how we can help in mobilizing the youth. But if you are in the north, or perhaps you've been to North Italy, the body language, it's not really palatable. It's not a one-man structure. It's about what is visible. It's about how they feel. As it speaks now, the northern youth are not aligning, of course, with the current administration in terms of its policy. And of course, it's really biting hard on them. So how about Atiku joining the APC? Yes, of course, he has no political structure. One would expect that he brings that on board. But what effect has he made while he was in the PDP? That's a question one would ask. What effect has he made as in the PDP? So the APC and of course its political structure would always want to have everybody on deck to see how they can help, to bring back help to, gather vote for them. But when it comes to the youth in the north have decided, and trust me, not just decided, but of course they're seeing the handwriting on the wall, and trust me, they will go with what is obtainable and what they see, because across board, hunger knows no party, hunger knows no Atiku or Tinubu or late Buhari or Obi. Hunger knows that everybody knows we are hungry, and as it stands now, or things are not going the way we want it, and what is the cause? This government or whoever government has the power has not delivered, so therefore they would vote as related to their conscience. But mobilizing the youth for that, with him on board, of course he can only but have his own supporters, those who believe in him. And but one can only ask, while he was in PDP, what effect did he make in the Northeast? None, if I can ask you.
All right. Now, we understand that for a while now, youth mobilization has been key in the APC's 2027 election strategy, and you just mentioned that as well. But how do you think that Abba's presence can help or hinder these efforts?
Sorry, I didn't get the last line. Sorry.
So basically, I'm trying to find out how Abba's presence will influence, this new strategy of mobilizing the youth. Do you think that it will help, or do you think it will hinder the efforts?
No, it will. It will. It's a big name, and it's a name that one would, it's going to somehow, affect them, kind of, to help boost their morale in a way, like just the Deputy Senate President has said, is a big boost for the party, especially in the Northeast, to help mobilize youth in the coming election. But it's not a one-man's party, because in youth mobilization, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of beliefs and a lot of strategy that needs to be employed to make sure that the youth, of course, the youth right now are politically sensitive, and of course they believe and they see what is happening. So I can only wonder what he would be preaching and what has changed so far. One would also want to see, his manifesto or whatever he wants to bring on board to help assist the APC in the coming election. But with its defection into the APC, well, it's a big name. The article song is a big name, and of course, it will help them in terms of strategizing on wooing the supporters, article supporters to them. But I don't think that will really work for the ruling party if, of course, they want to be true to themselves. But of course, we all know what it will do in terms of portraying that even the son does not believe in the father. That kind of agenda, that kind of narrative. I'm going to say they might want to sell that. But it's not a one-man thing, because of course the youth are more sensitive. The youth cannot be coerced, long as those days where you want a man who just tell them we're going this way and everybody just head that way. No, the youth right now really need accountability, and of course will hold the government of the day accountable, and of course the scorecard would show.
All right, thank you so much, Victor Atewe, political strategist and youth mobilizer, for joining us, and of course for lending your voice to such an important conversation. And we'll see how this pans out. It's great to see that there's no level of coercion, and of course this again reflects a certain level of democracy that people love to see. Now, we circle back to the story about the Rivers State political crisis that has been going on for a long time now, where the House of Assembly has insisted that they would go ahead with the impeachment proceedings against the governor, Simeon Ifabara, and his deputy. And of course, we have News Central's correspondent, Biola Festus, who joins us now to give us an update. Biola, can you give us more insight into what exactly happened on the floor of the House?
Few minutes ago, about an hour ago, actually, the Rivers State House of Assembly reconvened to continue their impeachment proceeding. Now, let's go back to the beginning of the whole process. Last week, 8 days ago, they sat and issued notice of impeachment to the governor and his deputy. In between that impeachment notice, 4 lawmakers had on two separate occasions, come forward to say they were appealing to their colleagues to rethink their decision of impeachment. They said they were ready to settle politically. They were ready for a political solution to their grievances against the governor, and of course, to have a peaceful governance with the governor. They were supposed to reconvene yesterday, but they failed to, and today they reconvene on the floor of the House to continue the impeachment proceedings. There were 2 votes on the floor of the House. They voted that the impeachment should continue, 1 against the governor and 2 against his deputy. So 5 lawmakers, 5 members on the floor of the House voted in favor of that motion. So the impeachment proceeding has already begun and is in full swing against what the speculations were when those 4 lawmakers came forward to say they were appealing to their colleagues to withdraw the impeachment move.
All right, Biola Festus there giving us an update on the River State political tension. And of course, we have seen that lawmakers are insisting that they're going to proceed with the impeachment processes against the governor and his deputy. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break. When we come back, we've got more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, a petrol-laden tanker has been gutted by fire at a fuel station in Ayingba, Kogi State, triggering panic among residents and students of a nearby university. The incident happened late on Thursday night at the popular Himsu, now MRS fuel station, located opposite the Prince Abubakar Audu University. Our Kogi State correspondent, Mono Balagbogo, is following the developments closely and joins us now to give us more updates. Mono, reports indicate that the fire started while the fuel was being dispensed. What do you know so far about this incident?
The particular filling station, Himsu, now MRS filling station in Ayingba, is very close to Prince Abubakar Audu University. So from what we've heard, the tanker was trying to dispense fuel in the premises, and of course, it caught fire. And then everybody was in panic. It was all over social media, and everybody was cautious. But thankfully, blessings, no casualties so far. Just parts of the filling station is destroyed, as you can see from some of the visuals sent for you. Back to you, blessings.
So, given the station's proximity to student lodges and residential areas, how was the fire eventually contained, and were there any casualties or emergency response challenges?
Absolutely. You know, when it comes to fire incidents, the Kogi State Fire Service, there's been this reports of, not being fully equipped to be able to tackle such situations. So local intervention is what prevailed on Thursday night. Students from neighboring lodges, they came together, and neighbors, and they came in and they were able to put out the fire. So it was just, everybody coming together to save the day. And that was what happened. And it's calling for a deeper attention to fire service agency in the state to have all it takes, not just in the state capital here in Lokoja, but even across all the local governments, and most especially community like Ayimba, which hosts the Prince Abubakar Aldo University, one of the first state universities in Nigeria. Back to you, blessings.
All right, Mono Balagbubu there giving us an update on the fire that gutted a station at Ayimba, and thankfully it was contained, even though there have been reports of lack of equipment for the fire services. But we're still staying in Kogi State. The state is taking another step toward expanding electricity access to underserved communities. The State Electricity Regulatory Commission has commenced the issuance of mini-grid permits to qualify developers to operate within the state, a move aimed at improving power supply beyond the national grid. News Central's Mono Balagbubu reports.
Access to reliable electricity remains a major challenge for many communities across Kogi State, especially those outside the reach of the national grid. In a bid to solve this problem, the State Electricity Regulatory Commission is issuing mini-grid permits to private developers, allowing them to generate and distribute power in underserved and unserved communities across the state. The Commission says that the move is designed to expand access while ensuring strict regulation of service delivery.
As a commission, we now believe the nearest and the closest option to take part to these areas is by bringing up mini-grid developers to capture those areas that are underserved or unserved. Interior communities or areas that are close to services but they are not getting the best of availability. Those are the people that stand to benefit from these mini-grid developments. But how soon? Yes, now that Kogi State Electricity Regulatory Commission is ready to issue certificates to these mini-grid developers. That is the position that has guaranteed that yes, their services will be regulated. It will get to the service end users.
According to the Ministry of Energy and Rural Development, the impact will cut across multiple local government areas.
So this is just the beginning. And the communities of I think there are over 40 communities will benefit from this program that we are about to start.
For licensed operators, the initiative presents an opportunity to localize power generation and expand electricity access at the grassroots.
Because of the new energy law, so where states are allowed to now issue their own licenses, so that's why we're regularizing that license to a state license. So Imani is benefiting from it.
The Kogi State Electricity Regulatory Commission says that it will continue to monitor operators to ensure compliance with set standards as the state intensifies efforts to improve power supply beyond the national grid. In Kogi for News Central, Moino Balagbubu.
A building collapsed in a government secondary school in the Odokekere area of Ikorodu, Lagos State on Thursday afternoon while students were in class. Now, according to eyewitnesses, no casualties were recorded, but the incident which left the building was completely destroyed, disrupted academic activities as well. News Central's Omolola Olade joins us now from the scene of the event to bring us an update on the incident. Omolola, first off, we're happy to hear that there were no casualties because, I mean, that was a miracle seeing the damage, the extent of the damage. But quickly, what other damage can we say that this has caused, especially to the school and, of course, what disruptions?
Hello, Blessings. We're presently at, the government high school here in Odo-Kekere area of Ikorodu State. Like you stated, where a faction, of one of the school buildings collapsed yesterday in the early hours of Thursday. And then, unfortunately, like you mentioned, none of the students, was affected. There were no casualties. And that was basically because many or all of the students escaped, before the building came crashing down. And then, if you can look behind me, if you can see very well, you wouldn't have noticed that anything had happened here, except for the fact that the fence of the fence that was just behind the classroom that was affected, is damaged. Anything apart from that, the debris had all been cleared up, everything, nothing, to show that there was a building collapse, but we had to speak with eyewitnesses who, of course, mentioned that there was building collapse. And then, like what we saw online yesterday about disruption of academic activities. In fact, I was surprised, or the crew was surprised this morning to find out that learning is still going on. But unfortunately, for the student, many of them have to have like crash classes just to ensure that, learning is still going on. If you look at the classrooms, they're filled to the brim because, from what I gathered from the former youth leader of the community, they said there are about thousands of students, in this high school. And I would like to, invite the former youth leader in person of Mr. Sadiq Isaac to come, shed more light on what has happened. All right, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Your name, please?
I'm Isaac Sunday, the former youth leader of Odo-Kekere and its environ. I'm one of the founder of the school building.
So that means we'll be talking, from somebody who has authority to talk about this. Tell us, yesterday, what happened exactly, when the building, because it was a miracle that no student was affected.
First and foremost, we really thank God there was no casualty from the angle of the students, the workers, the teacher. Divine intervention made no accident happen. And then of course, I wasn't there. I was later. I came in. I think the event happened about after 11 to 12 yesterday, but thank God the children were on break. So, of course, the building shook. As a result, then it came down to affect the fence. So, but we thank God there was no casualty of any kind. And, of course, we immediately happened. Thank God for the teachers. They gathered the students to safety. And of course, we really appreciate deeply the Baale of Odo-Kekere in the person of Dr. Aino Abayomi for his fatherly intervention. We appreciate the Honorable Chairman of Ikorodu North in person of Honorable Akpanishile Ibrahim Olawale and his team. It was less than 30 minutes. He came all the way from Isiu, the local government secretariat, down here. Despite all of his busy schedules, he even came with an ambulance and rescue team. And of course, he stood well to make sure everything was put in place. Of course, after the demolition, of course, we have some of the youths around the area that helps in the place of putting things in order. We really appreciate the parents too for their maturity and their composure, because if not, of course, there may be some casualty with panics and all of that. And we appreciate the teachers that were able to stabilize even the parents and of course the troubles so that there won't be stampede and all of that. And we appreciate so much the youth in Odo-Kekere area because they came out in all efforts to make sure things they don't go out of hand. So.
Okay, all right. So, since yesterday, has there been any word from the government in terms of, what is going to happen going forward?
Yeah, just said the chairman of the Ikorodu North local government was there with his vice and of course his team, and they've promised that of course they will contact the appropriate quarters to make sure that a befitting building is erected in order to make the place conducive for the children. And of course, they promise it will come on time. So, and some of the direct talks from the, the educational board and all of that, they've been here, and of course we've been seeing different agencies. Even Lagos State Building Agency, they've come, and of course we've seen there are measurements going here and there to make things swift. So.
Okay, so the school, from what I'd gathered, before we came on live, you said the school has been in existence since 2019, and then you did talk about getting enough classes. You did talk, a lot of students here, and then it's obvious that the classrooms are not enough, and now that we have some classrooms being destroyed by the collapse. How confident are you that the government, will be able to do this swiftly to ensure that learning activities go on as swiftly as possible, and of course in a conducive environment for the students?
Of course, we believe in their promises. Just as the presence of the chairman was there yesterday, he had made his promises, and of course, when he said it yesterday, we've seen some of the agencies of the government here, the building, whatever, the directors, and of course, you can see there tape rules going here and there. So we believe in this present government that they will do the needful. So we believe in their promises, because education is a pillar of success. So, and of course, I believe they've seen whatever that happened, and we are reporting also they should please help our students so that they can stand on their feet, and then the activity of course the activity is ongoing, but there won't be there won't be they won't pack the students to them packed in the class, so that there will be space, and then of course there will be proper comprehension when they are being taught.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac.
All right, that's Omolola. They're giving us an update on the Lagos school accident. Quite a relief that no casualties were recorded, but a lot more has to be done in verifying that these buildings are strong enough, especially when the lives of students are at risk. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us on the news. Now, as preparations gear up for the February 2026 FCT Area Council's elections, residents across the 10 political wards in Kuje say that beyond the political promises, they're also looking forward to actionable solutions. And we have been talking about that extensively for a while now. We have News Central's correspondent Aisha Sali, who is live in the Kuje Area Council, to give an update on the upcoming elections and what the people in that area feel needs to be done and what they feel like they lack. Aisha, it's almost a month now to the elections. What are the peculiar issues in that region that makes the people skeptical about the next administration?
Questions. I'd like to first of all interest you with some of the few facts about Kuje Area Council. We are in Chibiri Ward at the moment, but you would know that Kuje is one of the fastest growing satellite communities in the FCT area, in the FCT, due to the fact that the urban lifestyle inside other area councils. So a lot of residents move into this particular place for for them to get their housing, amongst other concerns. Also, Kuje is indigenously, I would say, populated by the Bagi community and also other ethnic groups, making it culturally diverse. Kuje is also a home to one of the medium correctional facility, amongst other infrastructure and developmental strides in this particular area council. But I'm right here in Chibiri Ward, and Chibiri Ward is one of the 10 political wards in Kuje area council. And as you can see right behind me, we're in the Chibiri primary and secondary school premises, where you can see obviously a dilapidated infrastructure, which technically does not even permit for school pupils and children to learn actively here. But regarding the question you asked, I would like for one of the teachers in this particular school to speak about the challenges that they're facing ahead of the elections and what they are demanding from the incumbent or whoever is coming up for the next administration. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Your name, please.
My name is Umar Haski, the head teacher of LEA Primary School, Chibiri.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I'd like to hear from you. What are your major concerns regarding this school and what you want the area council to be aware of?
Okay. In fact, this is LEA Primary School, Chibiri, and this school was established 1976. Since then, the school is facing a lot of problems in terms of facility and enrollment. What causes this is because the facility are not enough, and the pupils the parents are deciding to take their children to private school. In fact, when we talk of education, education is the bedrock of every society, and when when education is not functioning, the society will collapse.
Okay, we can see visibly the dilapidated infrastructure here. What was the result, the cause of this, and what are you asking the government to do about it?
In fact, this dilapidated classroom was here since we demand for amendment, but yet the government did not listen to us. We have been up and down, writing to the board, writing to our local level, up to now. Even this company that they are constructing this road, we even wrote to them. They say they are going to assist. Up to now, nothing is done. So we are appealing to government to come and assist us and put this thing in place for us.
All right, Blessings, you have just heard from the head teacher in this particular school. We'll also bring forward the chair of the Ward Committee Development. Good afternoon.
I'm by name Dama Dantani.
Okay.
Ward Development Committee Chairman, Chibiri Ward.
Mr. Dantani, I'd like to hear from you. What are the peculiar concerns of Chibiri Ward?
Yeah, the particular concern of Chibiri Ward is, one, you can see the primary school. The building is about to collapse. If you go inside the town, health facility is too small to accommodate the large number of community members. Go to water, drinking water, we don't have potable drinking water. The one available have both gotten spoiled. Lights, all the poles are wooden poles. They are about failing. So whenever there is breeze, rainfall, we entertain fear of falling fall because it is going to affect our living. That is the challenges we are having. Where we need government to come in is that, look at the primary school. My colleague have said that some of our people, parents are driving away their children from the school because, as you can see, even animal cannot live here. Talk of human being to learn. Go to our health center, they lock by 2. Whenever there's an emergency after 2 o'clock, there's no any remedy for that case again. Well, the potable water is one of these living. That is, if a community want to live in a healthy life, they need a potable water. We don't have potable water, so we need government to come in to this. Most especially as we are heading to election, we are appealing to incoming government to come assist us to do all these things, to put all these things in place. Thank you.
All right, Blessings, you have heard the appeal and the demands of, what the committee chair of Chibiri Ward here, as he is asking the government to ensure that, infrastructure is being taken care of. And I'd like to walk into the facility here, the school here, so that you see the level of dilapidation. Technically, no school pupil can stay here to learn. You can see the roof, the ceiling, it's gone. And they have also complained that even when it's rainy season, pupils cannot stay in this classroom to learn. There rain falls on them, and because of this, they now have to move some of these pupils to one particular classroom. Imagine having a series of pupils from class 1 to 6 staying in one particular, classroom just for their learning ability, and that is part of the challenges they are facing. So there is also the issue of education infrastructure, the issue of primary health care, water supply, power, even road, amongst other concerns. We're still in Chibiri community, Chibiri ward in Kuje Area Council, and we're still going around other political wards in Kuje Area Councils for subsequent bulletins to bring you up to speed on what are the complaints and demands of the residents in Kuje Area Council. Over to you, Blessings.
All right, Aisha Sali there giving us an update on the dilapidated structures and, of course, the health and safety concerns in anticipation of the FCT Council elections. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break. When we come back, we've got more stories. Stay with us. And outside of Nigeria, provisional results from Uganda's presidential election show President Yoweri Museveni taking a commanding lead. The Electoral Commission announced on Friday that Museveni has secured 76% of votes counted so far, based on 45% of polling stations, while opposition leader Bobi Wine trails with about 20%. Thursday's election followed a tense and often violent campaign, with the 81-year-old Museveni seeking a 7th term in office. Wine, a pop star turned politician, has alleged massive fraud in the election, which took place under an internet blackout, though no evidence has been provided and authorities have not responded just yet. Late Thursday, Wine's National Unity Platform said the security forces surrounded his residence in the capital, Kampala, effectively placing him and his wife under house arrest.
Haburwa Kaguta Museveni in RM 14,232 votes, representing 61.7% of valid votes cast so far. Total number of valid votes for all the candidates so far is 23,049. Invalid votes so far 796, representing 3.34% of the total votes cast.
Chagulanyi 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 Museveni bagenda kawono
On News Central's correspondent Wangani Siziba covered the polls in Uganda and joins us for an update.
Center here, where results are being pronounced after they come from different provinces, that is districts. So far we have seen President Museveni and his party leading with MPs from different districts, according to the national TV. But with me is Benjamin from the opposition party, just to give us his views about the voting process and how did they see it, and also today, where we are today. Good afternoon. Yesterday it was voting day. How did you view the voting day? And also we saw the internet is closed, and also we have seen that the ruling party is leading. What are your views?
Well, good afternoon. I think first of all to emphasize that the process is far from being free and fair. From the events of yesterday, but also the events leading to yesterday. From the time of nominations, we have had most of our prospective members of parliament being denied an opportunity to be nominated to run. On flimsy grounds, we have seen those who were nominated to run for office being denominated. We have seen our presidential candidates being harassed on the campaign trail and being blocked from going to campaign in certain parts of the country. We have had our supporters abducted, and some arrested and taken through court processes, but others not accounted for. So from yesterday, we have seen a departure from the commitment that the Electoral Commission had made. The Electoral Commission had made a commitment that the voting this time around is going to be guided by technology. And the government of Uganda spent billions of money to procure the biometric voter verification kit system. But to our dismay, it was not relied on at any of the polling stations in the country. The intention and essence of procuring this system was to eliminate multiple voting, to eliminate ballot stuffing, and impersonation. We, of course, have had internet switched off, and as a result, we are not able to get real-time updates from our agents across the country. For example, we'll be able to get all the declaration forms in time so that we are able to verify while the Electoral Commission is making its presentation with what we have gathered from our agents. But we have also had cases of our agents being arrested. We have also had cases of the materials extended to them being confiscated, and at some polling stations being chased away by the security forces.
But let's talk about the results that we have seen so far. The ruling party almost taking all parliamentarians with opposition 1 or 2. Your take?
We believe that these results are not a reflection of what transpired. And that is why we are demanding that the Electoral Commission, while presenting these results, should point them to their origin. Say, for example, the 10,000 polling stations we are talking about are from this district and that district. But the Electoral Commission is giving a generic presentation to say we have received results from 10,000 polling stations, but we don't know where these polling stations are. We don't know if these results indeed are authentic and have come from the polling stations or they are manufactured here. We have also raised the complaint based on information we received previously about the Electoral Commission relegating its responsibility to members of the armed forces. If you look around at this polling station, you see at this tally center, you see so many uniformed personnel. But also I can tell you that I have seen a number of senior army officials at this tally center. Yet this responsibility of tallying elections should be for the Electoral Commission. So you wonder what army generals are doing here.
What's the way forward?
The way forward is that, first of all, we firmly reject the results being presented by the Electoral Commission because they are not verifiable. And they are not, the presentation is not being done in a transparent manner. We are still gathering information from across the country so that we are able to compare what they are presenting and what we have, and we shall guide the nation accordingly.
Thank you so much, Say. That was the representative from the main opposition party of Bobi Wine talking to us about the results that we have seen trickling in. They are saying that they have to confirm if those results are really the results that are coming from different districts. But also the problem, that the challenge that they are saying is now because of the internet, they can't verify their agents. Like he said, that as the party, as the opposition, they are going to reject rather these results that are coming through. But we were driving through Kampala. People are going on with their business as usual. It's peaceful, but we have seen the security forces still around all corners just to make sure that the peace in the country continues. It's now back to you in the studio.
Well, that's all on the 12 Report today. I'm Blessings Mosugu. Many thanks for watching.